What's up, my party people? It's your boy Darshaun Smith back again for another episode of the Positivity Hour, specifically number 93. Why it's important to walk away from certain situations, okay? I'm your host, Darshaun Smith, or otherwise known as the Positivity God, or exclusively on this podcast is your homie Big D Money, whatever you want to call me, as long as it's pretty nice. And to answer that question, so you don't waste your time, okay? We'll get into that and more in this video after the intro. Let's roll it. Woo! All right, now that the intro has rolled, let's just hop straight into this episode. My last episode was, a lengthy one. It went for like 30, 40 minutes, but, this one is nice, short, and sweet. And I think this one really is just relevant to a lot of things in my life. Plus, it's also just something I've been seeing a lot on social media as of late, and the importance of, just realizing that, time is your most important asset. It's your most important, valuable resource, in which literally giving your time to a person can really, change and affect not only you and what you got going on, your quote unquote program, but also affect, other folks and what they're able to do and not able to do, respectively. Okay. So all that being said, we're going to hop straight into this. So over this last week, I've been chilling, y'all. I've been getting this money. I've been trying. I've been really stressed out, but that is because it's midterms. Week 8 has just finished, and we're going into week 9 right now. I got some papers I'm still working on, and I got some hard work. Darshaun Smith, your homie, your man's right here is always doing. So outside of that, I'm chilling. So yeah, let's just hop straight into this. So to get into today's episode and talk more specifically about why it's important just to walk away sometimes. I'm gonna take 2 to 3 angles here, but they all revolve around that. Sometimes it's just not worth your time. Okay, it's not worth your effort. It's not worth what you're trying to do in life. So you really just need to, as they say, push on. So all of this was inspired though by a screenshot I'm gonna put up on the screen now. So for all of y'all who can see the screen, it shall be over here right now, and let's talk about it. So the screenshot comes from Mindset Therapy. Please go follow them on Instagram and all their social media. It is some mindset therapy, and it will help you rethink your life. But all that being said, the quote says, before you argue with someone, ask yourself, is it this person's I messed it up. Is this person's mentally is this person mentally okay? Hold on, I'm choking right now. Hey, we want to take everything. Okay, you're seeing all of the how Darshaun can't read a sentence, and I didn't read this out loud before. Is this person mentally mature enough to grasp the concept of different perspective? If not, there's no point to argue. And I would follow that up with just walk away. All right. I don't apologize for the blunder. I'm unapologetically myself. So, plus, people can't read all the time. And at least I got through it. So with all that being said, let's break that down. Okay. So there's this first angle that mindset therapy talks about, which is, whenever you're trying to create discourse with people, whether it be political or whether it be, I just say political because, the midterm elections are in 20 days. Or it's, about your school, about your football team, about your place of work, about money, housing, whatever it may be, social issues, personal things. Simply put, before you get into a heated debate, as they would say, don't even put yourself in that situation, especially if you can identify that the person you are talking to is not mentally mature enough to see a different angle. I'm not saying they have to agree with you, okay? We can agree to disagree, but if we can't even like be like, okay, like, I don't know, take Trump supporters and like people who vote for Joe Biden, okay? If you're like, skip you, Joe Biden, man, and if you're a Trump supporter and the Joe Biden person's like, skip you, Trump woman, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you gotta agree with it, but like to like not be able to bring yourself to a level of maturity in our world to recognize that yes, maybe you vote for the red party and I vote for the blue party. We're still Americans, so we should at least try to understand each other. Like if that's not there, sometimes it's just better just to walk away and try again another day, because that saves you time, energy, and money. And most importantly, nowadays, it saves you from getting shot. So I think that's a good segue into my second point of why it's important just to walk away. I'm thinking about, situations that, I find myself in or have found myself in past encounters, but also I'm thinking about, future things of like me not wanting to get canceled or me too'd or whatever, what I'm saying? So like, this is simply, I'm saying it's important to walk away because, I'm trying to not necessarily save face for my future self, but I am trying to, ensure that my future will not be limited by my current missteps if I did have any, so whether, like I said, that's talking to, friends accordingly, not saying everything to every single person, keep information within certain groups, or just simply don't say it to people at all, because sometimes you're like, man, I'm really going through this, man. I want to tell my mans, I want to tell my girl or whatever, what I'm saying. But sometimes you just gotta walk away, what I'm saying? Because you never know. Like you might be good now, but a year later, that person switch up on you or something, and then they got all these notes or whatever just to like drop on you real quick, and then all of a sudden you're canceled. But that's a whole nother topic. I think I'm gonna have a guest on. I'm gonna try to work on that because cancel culture ain't real. But we're not gonna talk about that. Moving on to my third and I think final point, or I guess 2A. Oh no, I wasn't done with 2 yet. So we're going backstep a little bit. So I said the relationship perspective and how I'm like not to, and I mean like friendly or intimate, and like how that you don't want that to affect you. But this also goes for the other side of that. Whether it's just normal people, everyday folk. It really just comes down to what is your level of understanding in this world. What is your level of education in this world, and what is your level of trying to better this world. I think a lot of times we get caught up in the finer details or just little irrelevant things that actually don't matter in the grand scheme of like the universe or whatever you want to say. And I say all that to say that sometimes I want to argue the opposite. I guess this is that 2.5. That sometimes when things aren't going well, that's when you need to not walk away, but use your discretion. Like there's a difference between having a productive conversation in which you are talking passionately at each other very fast and very loud, and what I'm saying, versus like just busting blood vessels in your head and about to fight and shoot each other just because we don't get along, or we don't do this with one another, or whatever it may be. So from like the devil's advocate perspective, the 10th man, as they say, sometimes it is good not to walk away, what I'm saying, and offer the viewpoint anyways, because although a person may, I guess in my rebuttal to the screenshot in which I put on the screen, is although the person may not be speaking like they are mentally mature enough to understand your counterpoint, they still might take something away from hearing it. Maybe it might be like a year later, it might be later that day when they're like, thinking it through, and they're like, dang man, I really stuck it to him like that. I really gave him that facts, and they're saying it out loud to one of their friends or whatever, and then one of their friends is like, actually that's not a bad point, you know what I'm saying? So there's that's called planting a seed and letting it grow later into the future. Okay, but we'll talk about that in a different episode. But then on the other side of that, you have, oh dang, where was it? I had it so perfectly illustrated in my head, and then I looked at the time and then I forgot. Nevertheless, you get what I was going for there. So don't be afraid. Like I said, I said 2 to 3. We're gonna leave it at 2. Okay, we're almost at 10 minutes, and I think I've illustrated the point. But just to sum it up for y'all, don't be afraid to have a conversation with the person, but understand that your time is very important in this life, and if you don't have the time, energy, or the resources, or the mental maturity or capacity to have a high level, high thinking, high caliber, critically thought out, conversation with the person, sometimes it's really just that important to move on. So you don't waste your time, so you don't waste your money, so you don't waste, your future brand image, your future personal, image, or whatever you want to call it, your personal brand, or, what I'm saying? But on the flip side, sometimes it is great to educate a person, Oh, I understand. I know what I was going to say now. Speaking of educating a person, who's to say that you're right? Maybe you're the person, who is not understanding the other perspective. Maybe you're the person who's not mentally mature enough. Okay, so it's important to walk away sometimes, so you don't get caught up in the moment, too hard. But at the same time, it's not always the other party that needs to become more mentally mature. And with that, I'ma say good night. I'm just joking. It is 6 a.m. right now. So good morning, and thank you for watching this episode of the Positivity Hour. Okay, I'm your host Darshaun Smith. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Like I said, it was about why walking away is important in some situations in which you might want to stay a little bit longer. So with all that being said, 11 minutes down, and yeah, that's all I got. Make sure you like, subscribe, unsubscribe, hate, comment, follow, unfollow, share, report, dislike. I don't care what you do, just as long as you're staying positive at the end of the day. That's what it really matters about. Okay, so I'll see y'all around. I'm gonna go edit this up really quick because the rest of my day is kind of trash because of band extravaganza. So gotta love it, and let's get this money, man. Let's get this bread, okay? And with all that being said, I need to have like one of my future episodes will be about just like everything going on actually in my life, like academically. Like I'm gonna break it down for y'all college kids out there and how not to finesse yourself. So look alive for that. And yeah, this has been your host Darshaun Smith signing off. I don't know. See you around. Woo. Bonk.